Hello pilots, I'm James with MotionRC, back with another video in our XK series here. The first video already posted last week. That was an unboxing and a spec overview of all 5 of these ready-to-fly helis, and I apologize in that video. I was calling the rotor blades propellers the entire time. It just got stuck in my mind, didn't even think of it, so I'm sorry if you can forgive me. All the other information in that video, I hope, helped some people out. And just like this video, my idea, like I said then, was that I wanted to do a comparison because I haven't been able to find any videos on YouTube where somebody had all 5 with them at the same time, so I just figured why not do an actual comparison, because product pages can be a little light and finding information about these things could just be a little light. Even though they've been out for a good little while now, there are definitely tons of flying videos for you to find, and other people have assembled them and bound them up. But I definitely wanted to just show you side by side, especially the 3 3D helis here and the 2 scale helis, just so you can make a better informed decision with your next purchase if you're on the market for something like this. I will post a table of contents where I have time code links to all the different portions of the video. I'm still not sure how it's going to be laid out here while I film this intro, so as I film it, I'll figure that out, and then if you look in the description now, because we're live, you'll see how it's laid out, and you can get to the part of the video that you need. So after we go through a proper comparison, again showing some of the differences and some of the similarities, then we'll get into the ready-to-fly transmitter. So anyone who already has a Futaba transmitter, you can buy the Futaba ready-to-fly version, and I don't think that portion of this video will help you, but if you do buy the ready-to-fly version, you want to know how to maybe set your Expo or play with the pitch curve or the throttle curve, things like that, that's what we're going to get into. Again, pretty briefly, we're not going to go full in-depth, but it'll show you how to get into the functions, because the manuals for these things could just be a little light or a little hard to understand, if you will. You really got to get in there and play, so I'm basically hopefully just doing that for you. So let's get into it, guys. We're going to start with our comparison, and we'll start with the 3D helis. Okay, guys, we're going to get started with the K100 and the K110. So these 2 helis actually come in the same box. There'll be one design on the front of the box, the other design on the back of the box. So you got to just check the top of the box to see which one, you know, make sure you got the one that you purchased. But these 2, in essence, are the smallest in the 3D lineup as far as price goes and as far as what you're getting. But there are some definite differences between them. But let's start with the similarities. Let's look at the rotor blades. So these 2 use the exact same size rotor blades. So if for some reason we're out of parts for one, you can easily pick up one from the other. It looks like everything as far as the rotor assembly, the heads, if you look up close, I'm going to put my rack my focus back a little bit. Here we go. The rotor assemblies are the same up top. There we go. So that's the K100. And we have the K110 right here. Let me take the canopies off. Now, the body of the K110 is going to be a little longer. It's almost an inch longer than the body of the K100. But other than the length of the body, they still have the same basic makeup. The tail booms, see how the K110 behind the other one is going to be a little longer than this is the K100. Closest to the camera, the K110 a little further back. It's just a longer boom for the K110, but the internals, if I hold these in front of the camera, you'll see the gear is going to be the same, the servos are the same, you have the same smaller servos. They don't really give a name or size dimensions on XK's website for what they are, but you got the 3 servos, and again, the entire rotor assembly, swash plate, everything is virtually exactly the same on these. The only real differences come in to the motors. So if you look up close here, now I know the K110, the motor is black, but this is the brushless motor. So this is an 1106, 11,000 kV brushless, and this is the only copter that uses a brushed main motor. That's the K100. So that's partly the reason why. And again, it's a little smaller, but that's why you're going to be paying less for the K100 versus the K110. It's about $30 American, and it'll be about the same percentage difference in any country you buy from on MotionRC.eu as well. So now the biggest change is going to be if you jump to the K120. Now the K120, when I put them up next to each other, you'll see it stands taller than the K110 and the K100. Okay, now this one retails for about $150 on the ready to fly, and then if you were getting just Futaba ready versions of any of these copters, again, these three, you get about a 20% difference, 20-30% difference in price. Anyway, but obviously it'll be cheaper without the ready to fly transmitter. So taking a look, one thing I did notice, so I have the spare propellers here for the K100 and the K110, just to show you. Again, these are the same size. But now, let me hold up the K120's blade. So your rotor blade here for the K120 is obviously a lot bigger. So if you're in a pinch, you don't want, and you own a K110, you can't buy K120 rotor blades as a replacement. You wouldn't want to do that. I mean, I'm sure it would fly, but it's not the one that it was made for. You definitely got about a half an inch to an inch length difference here. Let me measure them for you. So let's get on the inch and metric side. If we were right here to the end, you are about 110. Let me just hold it right. There we go. About 110 millimeters, or a little under 4.5 inches on the K100 and the K110 blade. And then when I put up the K120 blade, you are at almost 125 millimeters and closer to 5 inches you're pushing. So again, about a half an inch longer, and it is wider as well. When you hold them up together, it's going to be just a tad wider than the other one. The K120 is behind it, if you can see. And then also on the K120, so the K110 and the K100, they'll have the same tail rotor blade. And then when you hold up the K120's rotor blade, again, it's going to be a little larger. It's a larger copter. So just showing you the parts for the K120 are not the same as the K110. So you don't want to make that mistake if you're looking for spares. Just stick to what's on the K120 page. Then real quick, obviously I showed you in the last video, but the batteries. So if I hold up all three batteries, remember the K100 running on a 250 milliamp 1S. The K110 has a 450 milliamp 1S, and then the K120 has a 300 milliamp 2S pack, and it's the only one running on 2S. So that is the other feature, the upgrade. It's going to be, the most powerful one is going to be the K120. If you really want to get your 3D going, the K120 will probably be, a little better suited for you. But if you're just a beginner, you're going to have no problem with any one of these three. So let's get into the K120. Just to take the cover off again, take the canopy off. Now, this rotor assembly versus the K110, so let's just hold, we know the K110 and the K100 have the same basic assembly, so I'll just compare the 110 to the 120. For the time being, you will see here that the rotor assembly, I hope you can see that, it might be hard to tell that it is metal and not plastic. So you have more metal parts on the head versus plastic parts throughout the K110. So that's also what you're paying for. So also these parts, most of these are not going to be replaceable with K110 parts. They each have the same motor, although the K120 is just wrapped in a red can versus a black can on the K110. And then the real biggest issue, the biggest differences, I notice are in the servos. Is a major difference between them. The K110 has smaller servos than you're going to get on the K120. I'm going to rack focus even closer here. You can see the S2.0 there. They both have 3 servos, of course. And you see the 2 on this side. But when they're hard to hold close to the camera, so bear with me, guys. But you can see much smaller servos there. That's a better shot of both of them. And then again, the rotor assembly. Then look at the tail booms. You can see you got a smaller carbon spar on the bottom. Might even be aluminum. It's hard to really tell what it is, but it's definitely a carbon spar, circular spar on the K120. So guys, that's just a quick comparison. I just wanted to show you the differences. So if I line them up straight, let me put the blades back a little bit, rack my focus. I'm gonna put the blades in their back positions just for the sake of argument. I'm gonna line this up straight. I'll put the skids right up next to each other. Line them up, and then let's take you over the top. And you can see the length. So that's the K120, that's the K110, and that's the K100. So the K100, obviously the smaller of the three. And the K110 and the K120 are about the same length, only the K120 is going to sit taller. As you can see here, the K120, definitely it's about 0.3 inches taller than the K110 and the K100. And obviously with all the beefier, additions. So if you're going for this, this would be, maybe the starting point, depending on price, I think is the difference. If you want to pay a little more to get the brushless motor, and then if you want to pay to get not only the brushless motor, but more power with the 2S battery, bigger servos, better, beefier rotor assembly, bigger blades, things of that nature. This is the, would be the premier, if you will, air quotes, the premier version of the 3D. All right, guys, that's it for the 3D helis. Let's move on to the scale ones. All right, guys, here are our scale versions of the XK helis. We have the EC145 Eurocopter, or they call it the K124, and the AS350, or that is the K123. Now, right off the bat, guys, I think in the last video I may have said that the rotor blades are the same on these. They are definitely not. Looking at them upon closer inspection, let me rack my focus here for you. You will see that the blades are definitely a little different. The bottom is the K123 spare blade. It is a little longer and a little wider than the K124 blade. So if you find yourself in a pinch, don't order blades from one to replace for the other. Just stick to the product pages on our website to make sure you're getting the right blades if you were to need more. Some of the other differences externally here, the batteries. Again, the K123 comes with a 500 milliamp 1S, while the K124 comes with a 700 milliamp 1S. So just a different size pack, which could affect the CG. Again, stick to the pack that comes with the model that you are purchasing, and you get two. You get two of these with the K123, at least all that I saw. The tail blades, they are exactly the same size, just the only difference is the color to match your scheme. So the red one's going to be for the AS350, and they have the orange one for the K124. Now, when you take a look at them dimensions-wise, the K123, I would say, based on this size, is significantly longer than the K123. The K123 is significantly longer than the K124 when you're comparing them, but they're pretty close. And you can see there, but they are using the same tail motor. So again, it's a brush motor. No difference in that. And then, let me get this back locked down. Let's take the cover off. Your main difference here, obviously, tri-motor head, quad motor head. So the motor assemblies are going to be a little different. If you need spares, you're going to have to buy it specific for the copter itself. And then we take the canopy off. The internals, without completely dissecting these, I don't really want to take them all apart. I do want to take these over to Null in the fall, so I'm not in the interest, but I can see through the front that you're basically dealing, I believe it has the same swash plate, it has the same servos, and it has the same motors as basically the K110. So you're getting the brushless 1106 motor. You can see it right in there. It's hard to see because it is a black can, but it's the same servos. in both of them. Again, same power boards. The big difference here is that this is the only copter that will have an external channel plugged in, and that's for this front. There's a front LED light in the canopy. So when you take the canopy off, it just dangles and it connects right there. But other than that, it looks like, you know, all copters using the same ESCs. They're all using virtually the same board. They're using all the other same stuff. So that about does it, though, in a quick comparison. Again, my hope with these two comparisons was just to give you guys a better idea of what you're getting into. When you're looking at pictures of these things online, it's really hard to tell by some pictures which one's bigger, which one's not. Not that it might not even matter to you, so you could easily have skipped this whole section. But that's up to you. I thought it was just interesting to, again, see the differences up close because I had a chance to have all 5 in front of me. And I will be bringing these to Null in the fall and might be using them as giveaways. But I definitely wanted to leave them on the table for people who want to give them a shot. If you're coming down to Null in the fall, you'll be able to try these guys out. I would love to have you down there and do it. So that'll do it for basic comparisons of all. And I got to use a little foam tack for my horizontal stab there. But that's about it for this. So let's get on to some transmitter help. Alright guys, getting into your ready-to-fly transmitter. This is the XK-X6. Now, if you have an XK-X7, the only difference would be this rubber spot here that's hiding what would be a button. There'd be a red button here, and that's if you got an FPV version of an XK product. They'll give you the option to click record or not, and that's really the only difference that I could find in the two transmitters. So if you own an XK7, then this should help you out as well. So taking a quick look at the transmitter, we're only going to talk about it in terms of these micro helis. We're not going to get into any of the plane features, any fixed wing. We could do that more when we get a fixed wing product that we want to go over. But basically what you're looking at here, you obviously have your trims, gimbals, everything's nice. One mode button on the front and a back button. And then this is like your push wheel. This is your toggle wheel. And then push would be like enter, but they write push on it. And then as far as your switches, you have 4 switches. So the 2 on the face, this is going to be your gyro stability. When it's back, it is on. When it's down, it's going to be acro mode or gyro off. But the gyro really never turns off. We'll show you that as we get into it a little more. So, but it does the gain comes all the way down on it to make it virtually acro. Then over here, you have your dual rate switch, because there is, when I turn it on, you'll see that changes. Then at the top, your 2 switches here, we have, again, on planes, this would be like your flaps or whatnot, but this is going to be stable mode when it's back, so that what they call 6G on these XK products, and then this is going to be idle up or your 3D mode. So if you want to go 3D, you're basically going to be flipping this switch and this one at the same time, so you can get into acro mode and you know, you don't want your gyro on and you are in idle up. And then this one over here might be the most important for you. This is the throttle cut or the throttle hold. So when you have this in the down position, your throttle will not move. So that'll be how I'll show you one of these helis just to see the workings of it. You hold the throttle, and when you move, or you put the throttle hold down, and as you move the throttle and everything else, you can still see all the pitch and everything moving, the swash plate, but you don't have to worry about the blades spinning up and cutting yourself. All right, and the transmitter uses 6 AA batteries. So as you can see in the back, I went Rayovax. That's the one thing that you have to purchase on your own, so that's annoying, but it is what it is. Now let's turn this thing on. So taking a look, you got a nice digital display. Let me rack focus back. Now as you can see here, I have everything in the neutral position, but if I were to start toggling some, let's say trim, you'll see that the bottom shows you where your trim is for whatever you do. Let me just make sure everything is zeroed out. Zeroed out, and you could hear the button switch. Okay, now there's 2 ways to enter in any modes on this transmitter. This transmitter, again, is a 10 model transmitter. So if you purchased a ready-to-fly of one of these helis, and then you wanted to buy more of the helis, then you could just buy Futaba ready and bind them all up to the same transmitter. So let's show you the first mode. So if you want to get into the main functions, I call it, where you'll be able to change the type of model, you'll be able to change the actual mode of the sticks, you can get into a lot of things, sub-trim, things like that. You're going to push and hold the mode and back button at the same time. And now you'll see that that enters into this mode where you see things flashing. So if I do the toggle wheel, we're looking at model select. So right now we're in model 4. You've got model type, so you see the heli flashing. There would be, you could, program this to a plane, a fixed-wing aircraft. You have swash type, so I guess that'll determine, basically what kind of heli that you might want to bind this up to. We don't have to change that here. You don't have to change any of this, mind you. These things come bound and pretty much ready to fly. So this is just showing you what they can do. Here would be your sub-trim section, so you could trim out any channel you want to. And then you see the mode flashing. This is so if you want to change from mode 1, mode 2, I think they're mode 3 and 4 too, whatever you want to do. But we're not changing any of that. And that would be basically it. So if I wanted to change, let's say I want to change my model, I would hit the push button. And then I could be on model 5. I could be on model 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. 1. Oh, 1 is set up already for a plane. I guess in the factory maybe they might program other models they have on every transmitter just out of the box and then just leave it on the mode that it's for. But this heli was for, I labeled it for the K110, so I know that this is my settings. So I'm going to push enter here, so I'm on model 4, then I want to back out. So back, and now nothing changes because I am back to, square one. So now you'll see at the bottom, you see a triangle down here. When I flip the dual rate switch, that triangle lights up. So that'll show full rates, and I guess half rates or, lower rates is where you keep it there. And then you wouldn't really see anything else with any of the other switches. Oh, there you go. So idle up. So going from regular mode to idle up mode or stable mode, you see that the throttle curve does change and, the numbers change there. But let's get into it a little more. So now that we're in the model, so now if we want to make any changes within the model that we're currently working on, all you have to do is push and hold the mode button. Now you're going to get a different set of options. So the first one, you have reverse. So you could reverse any channel you want. Again, with these helis, I don't believe you'd have to reverse anything. So you want to skip that. Here's your dual rates. So now when we're in dual rates, say we wanted to change our rates. We push in. Now you can see I'm got the switch. I'm on low rates, as you can tell by the triangle. So that means I'm in whatever would be my low rate. And they have 80. So also, since this is Futaba, this is running on aileron, elevator. Channel 3 would be throttle, 4 is rudder. So this would be in essence AETR. So this is your aileron. So it's going to be your left and right channel. This is going to be your forward and back channel, and then this is going to be your yaw channel, if you will. So right now they have 80 on the rates. We're at 80% on the low rates, 80% on channel 2. And 80 on channel 4. So let's, just to show you some change, let me move it down a little bit. Let's say I want to go to 75. Click into 75 there. So you see 75 on 1. We move over to number 2. Click it in, go down to 75. And on the yaw, let's go down to 75 as well. So now my low rates are at 3/4 settings. Now if I wanted to switch the high rate, just push the button, and now you see I'm at 100 on the yaw, at 100 on the elevator, and 100 on what would be the aileron channel. So there you have it. That would be the easiest way to change your rates. In order to keep them, just make sure you push the back button and back out. So now you'll see the DR is flashing, so that means we can change our settings again. So here we go to Expo. Say you wanted to add Expo. So now again, you have the same 3 channels. They're the only way that you can add Expo, and Futaba works in the negative. So you don't want to go positive. So right now that is 20% Expo on my aileron or my left and right, 20% Expo on my forward and back, and 0 Expo on my rudder. I like a little Expo on everything, so I'm just gonna bring that down to 20 as well. just to keep it all even keel. That's how I was mostly flying them out of the box, and seemed to work pretty well for me, but you could really dumb it down if you want to. Again, it all depends on your flying style. Just want to show you how you can change them. So backing out, your next spot would be throttle curve. So now these numbers don't really correspond anymore to any channels when you're dealing with throttle curve. These just, again, correspond to points on the stick. So 1 is going to be when the stick is all the way down. So for the most part, that's always going to be 0. Let me show you. So move into the throttle. Oh, move back to Expo. Hold on. Throttle curve. There we go. So 1 is flashing at 0. You'll see 2 they have at 45. 3 they have at 70. This is how the model came. 4 they have at 85, and 5 they have at 100. So in essence, basically 1 is going to be with your throttle stick where your throttle is on the fully down position. And of course, you would like the throttle to be off when you're all the way off. Now this is for 6G stable flight if you're trying to fly scale. These things will change in a second when we get into idle up mode. As you go up, basically 0.2 is going to be at 25% throttle. So for this one, they have it at 45. If I don't want my motor spinning that fast, I could dumb that down. I could lower that to 25. You can make it a straight linear curve where it's 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. So that's basically how it works. But this one, when I'm at half stick, I'm going to be at about 70 throttle. So I don't know if that's too much or too little. Again, it's up to your flying style, you know, how you want to set your curve. So 85, so when I'm at 3/4 stick, I'm at more than 3/4 throttle, and then when I'm at full stick, I'm at 100 throttle. You know, you could set the full stick to be only 90 if you want. If you don't want to use the full power, maybe you want to preserve your battery or something, you know. There are millions of different ways for you to do things, but this is just showing you that you could get in there and, you know, change your throttle curve. And then if I go to idle up mode, now idle up mode works, if you're looking at a bell curve, works more like a T. So remember, when you're in the middle is where you want to be, would be 3. So middle sticks again would be 3. They have it at 100 all the way through. So I think that would have to change. You definitely don't want your throttle running at 100 the whole time. So I would lower this down to, I don't know, let's say 75 in the middle. Let's say 4. So that means my position, let's go back to 1. So 1 would be inherently this position. Or 1 would be all the way down, actually. So that'll be your reverse. That will be your reverse throttle. So if you're inverted, you know, that'll give you reverse thrust. So you want to be at 100 there. Then when you come to this, you probably want to be, I don't know, maybe 90? Let's say 85. Then you're at 75 on 3. Then when you get up to 4, now you're getting back to, you know, regular pitch. Or, you know, verted flight, I guess if you'd call it. You'd want to push this down to maybe, back to 85, because again, it runs like a T curve. You know, it almost looks like a T when you're looking at a bar chart, and I could show you the manual over the top, and then you'd be back to 100. And again, this is for you idle up guys. I'm probably not going to fly this way, but I'm going to definitely try to teach myself on it. I'll have a little fun with these, because I'd love to learn how to just do 3D. When I think about it in my mind, it just sounds crazy to me when I think about idle up. But basically, if you do that, you want to back out to the point where this is flipping, and there's your throttle curve. Okay, so now we go back to regular mode, throttle's down, and the last one, or the second to last one you're going to get is pitch curve. So if you want to actually change the pitch on all your blades, then you can do that as well. And in here, you know, the pitch is going to change, again, similar to the throttle curve. It'll change at different points. How much pitch do you want for each point on your sticks? You know, on your throttle sticks and things like that. So you could get into it, and again, the pitch curve will change if you go into idle up mode. You'll get 5 different curves. So you want to have them, if you're somebody that's going to be flying 3D and stable, you want to try to set them for both, because you can see that the numbers do change. All right, and then dual rates will not do anything to your pitch or throttle curves. That has nothing to do with it, just again to further show you. And then if we back out of there, the last one would be your gyro. So this is where you can change the gain on your gyro, okay? So if I'm in here, when I'm back, right now it's telling me I have 75 gain on the gyro. So if I want the gyro to really be even tighter, or, you know, to go back to stable, let's bring that up to 90. And then when I hit the dual rate switch, it is still at 90, which is, oh, I'm sorry, not the dual rate switch. Hit the gyro switch. There we go. Now, see, it goes down to 25. So that's why I said early on, this is not necessarily gyro off. You could make this just gyro at 50% or gain, or you can turn it off if you want to. You know, if you're somebody that's going to be flying 3D, you might want this all the way down. From what I've heard on other videos, you never really want it at 0. And even if it was at 0, apparently there is still a very small you know, auto stability happening even in a 0 setting. So it'd be very hard to notice. You'd still crash. I don't think you'd really notice it, but people have tested it and proven that, you know, your gyro is never fully off, but obviously you're not going to be getting that much help from it. So again, gyro back button, gyro on, or gyro off. Now, if I hit the back, again, that'll save those settings. And that does it. There's no other settings to go through. So basically what I hoped this does is just show you how to get into the menus. Obviously, it's up to you to set this up to your flying style. But you know, now that you know where everything is, I hope that's a big help. So let's get into a quick bind here, and I could show you again some of these functions working on a working copter itself. Okay guys, we got the K110 right here as noted by the canopy, but I want to leave everything off so you could see things functioning. So first thing you're going to do when you get your helicopter, when you get your heli out of the box, it's already bound, but as with Futaba or most transmitter systems, you want to turn on your radio first, then you want to plug in your battery. So I'm going to put the battery in, slides underneath. Go. Now check your polarity, make sure red goes to red, black goes to black. It's really only one way to plug it in. And then you have a blue light there. So see, the blue light comes on and you are bound. If I start moving, you can see the rotor assembly doing its thing, swash plate moving around, which is nice. And you won't see anything on the rudder there. But now, so again, I'm going to hold my finger here, so just beware, show you the throttle. So you saw what the out-of-the-box pitch curves were and everything. It's going to be hard to tell on the table. I'm not going to rev it up full speed. But you see, it gets up to speed pretty quick. I think our throttle curve, we were at 45% throttle when we were at quarter stick. So that's where you're at about right now. The copter doesn't quite want to leave the table yet, and I'm not going to power it up. But just to show you, throttle cut. So there you have it. If you flick that switch, your throttle cut is going to go down. And now you can see the pitch changing on your heli. And this is where you can get in and change all this stuff with sub trim. You can really, you know, get this copter flying exactly how you want to fly it. With this transmitter, the more I played with it, the more I liked the transmitter. Once you get used to the functions, because the manual isn't so detailed. Even though it is detailed, it's just the wording's a little bit different. So you just got to keep that in mind. It took me I watched some other people's videos, got a little help with it. So just passing that along to you guys. Now, over here would be your throttle curve. So if you want to see, now we're in 3D mode, and I still have the throttle cut is on because I don't want that to spin up because I'll get like full throttle. But you see that the pitch completely changes, and you could get in there again if you want a 3D. You're going to change all these pitches however you wish. That's basically it, guys. So if I have, again, throttle down. Now, say I had the throttle at 25% and I hit the throttle hold, cut off. It's going to go right back to where it was. So remember, you always want to keep that all the way down, even when you're on your throttle hold. So if you cut the throttle, make sure you push your stick down before you try to turn it back on in any way, shape, or form. And then let's see what our rates do. So right now we're on low rates. See, if you can see the switch. It's hard to see, but the servo does jump. I'm going to move this a lot closer. Let me rack focus. So I want to look at the rotor assembly here. You see the servo arm? So right now, this is low rates. Let me get here. Low rates, high rates. I think I was at what, 75 and 100. So it's a small, but it's something, especially in something this small. So now this would be full rates, if you will. You can see it moves really nicely. Nice cyclic. For something so small, it is very, very impressive. All right, guys, let's move on to the last thing. Let me rack focus back here. Now, the last thing, what I wanted to do was show you just how to bind one of these helis. Because, again, say you bought the K110 like I have here. You bought it ready to fly, and you're loving it. You're having fun with it. But now, you know what? I want to step up to the K120. So the bigger guy, right? So basically, you won't need to buy another ready to fly. You don't need another transmitter. This one is going to do you just right. So what I want to do, let's unplug the K110. So now that is gone. You're going to go into your transmitter. And now remember, you want to change the model. So let me just rack my focus again. So what you're going to do is mode and back button together. And now everything's flashing. And right here, we're on model select already. So let's just go to model. So model select, we're going to push in. Let's go to model 5. So now we're on model 5. I'm going to back out and back out. So there we go. Now we're on model 5, right? So leaving the transmitter on. Now we have the K120. Let's plug this bad boy in. Battery's on backwards. And let's get to here. So it's plugged in. Now we're not getting a blue light because we are not bound. So all we got to do is push and hold. There's a little dip switch right here on the board of all these copters, acting like Futaba if you're used to Futaba. So you just want to push the dip switch. There we go. And now it's bound up. So the blue light came on. And now we have a bound 120. So now this one being plugged in, let's unplug. And that's it, guys. So now model 5 would be my 120, model 4 would be my 110, and you'd be good to go flying. And then in essence, on one transmitter, you can have all 5 XK helis, and you can have even more XK fixed-wing aircraft, or basically anything Futaba. You'd be good to go with this transmitter and a lot of Futaba-ready stuff before you ever think about having to purchase maybe a larger, more expensive transmitter. All right, pilots, that'll about do it for this part 2 of our XK Heli series. I hope this gave you a better idea. That's the whole goal of this, of just what you're getting into if you're interested in purchasing one of these micro helis from XK. Now you have, I hope, a better idea of the differences between the K100, 110, 120, and then our 2 scale friends here. And also the transmitter, the ready-to-fly version. If you guys don't fly Futaba, so you can't buy a Futaba ready-to version right off the bat, the ready-to-fly version is going to get it done, man. You get this transmitter. Again, you have 10 models, so if you like one of the helis or you like any of the other XK products that come with either the X6 or the X7, if you already have it, then you can feel free to just buy the Futaba ready version. So if, let's say, you bought the K110 ready to fly, K100, and then you wanted to jump to the 120, all you need to do is buy the 120 Futaba ready, and you can program it in here. So I hope that transmitter help at least gives you guys a better idea of what you're looking at, because it is a very dumbed down version of a transmitter, but it does have pretty much all the functions that you'd want to see in a radio. So it was really nice. But guys, that'll do it. Last video coming will be some flying. Ryan, as I said, had a guy do 3D, so I'm going to mix that in there. He did it with the K123. I'm looking for a pilot at my field who might be able to fly these in the idle up mode and 3D, but either way, I have some pilots there who will more than happily fly these scale for you guys, and we'll get out with all 5 of them, hopefully this weekend. If not, maybe next weekend or during the week. So just look forward. Probably in the next 2 weeks, I'll have that last video for you guys. So that's going to do it here, guys. As always, like, share, subscribe to everything Motion RC. We'd love for you to join our new initiative, Motion RC Fan Media. Basically, on our YouTube channel, you've been seeing fan flights. If you go to our website now, you're going to see more customer pictures, more customer media, because it's one thing for somebody working for Motion RC to tell you how great one of the products they're selling is, but it's a whole lot better when you actually see someone who spent their hard-earned money on a product and decided, you know what, this is so awesome, I'm going to go out and take pictures of it and film it because you guys love it just as much as us, and I think that's better proof that our products, that we stand behind everything we sell. So again, these Helis, really awesome, guys, for the money. Enjoy them, and we'll see you next time.